Are really nice. It's just the horses. They're just really cool and they're really fun to ride. And they warm you up when it's winter time because it's very, very, very cold.
I love these. So we're listening to some of the videos that people are posting for the Wayne County Challenge match. We've got another 3 that are coming up today, and I've already got maybe 2 for tomorrow already scheduled. So that'll have us at 10 nonprofits of the 47 that are part of the challenge match. And these have been a lot of fun because the videos have been turning into content for people to use on their Facebook page and Twitter stuff. So it's really pretty cool. So this is a little bit of brighter path.
I love that we put smiles on the faces of kids who live every day in pain.
That's kind of neat. Okay. Jeff Lane in studio. Jeff was in a tie yesterday. I wish we could have gotten you on camera for WCTV. It was pretty awesome. You were pretty...
Well, they knew what an effect that would have. And
well, yeah, we had to crash the server or whatever. Yeah, right. So, pretty cool.
But you did a great job. You did a really,
it was
really
fun.
good job.
Yeah, it
on
was fun.
WCTV.
We had a good time. 30 seconds. And that's good because we got that taken care of. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Oh. We already have 24 people watching. That's more than voted in Milton. I seriously, I don't want to talk about Milton or Dublin today. I mean, when you have 14 people vote, I don't have a lot of use for that. I don't like our vote totals either.
Now, back to the Wake Up Call with Bill Quinn. Brought to you by Phillips Drugs.
6:44 on your wake-up call. It is 31 degrees. Thank you so much for being a part of the wake-up call. We're brought to you by Phillips Drugs, your good neighbor pharmacy. Jeff Lane is joining me. Post-election coverage. Either you're hungover because you drank too much or you're hungover because you drank too much. Good time. So the Democrats got together at the Innovation Center and Republicans got together at Smiley's last night. And then my friends, I've got 2 or 3 friends that I cohort with, Pete Zaleski and Misty. We like to crunch the numbers, so we went a different place just so we could sit down and kind of crunch the numbers and talk about the election results. 6,100 people voted for either Kyle Ingram or Dave Snow 4 years ago, and we had only 4,000 people go to the polls, and about 3,500 voted for this edition of the mayor's race. What do you think that means?
Well, there are obviously a lot of disengaged people for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Whether this particular race lacked any shine or luster or enthusiasm, I think that could be a factor. But you see numbers down all over the place. So
Sure.
It's not just Richmond.
I do think that we need to focus some on how to engage people by talking about issues that are locally. And just putting questions on the ballot. Not that makes a law, but why can't we ask, would you like to see the minimum wage increase in Richmond city limits? Would you be in favor of nonprofits giving a fee back for police and fire? Do you want to see the second part of the loop of the bike path go in? And at least poll your residents. Give some reason to go out there and at least say, hey, I don't get a chance to talk to my elected officials, so I'm going to do it this way. The trolls on Facebook, and you know who you are, you're trolls on Facebook, they don't seem to carry any weight. But it was not a mandate yesterday.
I talked with Jeff Kappa about this. I really think that a lot of the decrease in turnout, not only locally, but regionally and nationally, has a lot to do with social media. I think that people voice their concerns and their oppositions that way, and they feel like they've gotten it out of their system. Especially when you look at the number of under 30s that vote or really actually don't vote. I'm sure that's just one of many factors. But for whatever reason, you're exactly right. I think the low turnout was really the biggest surprise of this election.
So here's something that's interesting. I get that Dave Snow's an elected official. He's got 7,200 fans of his Facebook page and could only get 3,800 votes or whatever the number was. I have 4,000 fans on my page, and that's the total number of people voting. That's sad.
It is.
Because I may have some friends that obviously can't vote, but those are just not for the city of Richmond. Not when Speak Out Richmond has over 38,000 or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And before we talk a little bit about results, I got to talk about what I did when I walked up to Snow last night for the first time after the results had come out. The very first thing I did, I didn't shake his hand. I didn't say, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" I just walked right up to him and I grabbed his pants and I lifted up his pants leg. I'm not kidding. I lifted up his pants leg. And he knew what I was doing instantly. He said, "Yep, I'm wearing them."
That's right.
Those socks, man, that have been in this studio for 4 years were on his feet.
We kept him safe company. He came and pulled him out of the studio in the primary season. And you know what? I'm gonna just break rank right here while you're talking about the news. So I'm gonna turn the camera over so people can see. Right in the far corner is the shadow box in case of an election break glass. And Jeff's pointing to it. And now I got to try to put this back in the right way. So it doesn't fall off the table. So that's where the socks were. He came and picked them up. He's now 4-0 in those socks. Okay, so about the election results. Republicans control council still 5-4.
Correct.
Newcomer Jane Bumbelow led the Republicans as far as votes go.
Uh-huh.
Do you think Thomas Owens lost Jamie votes? I originally thought that. And then someone very smart like Cheryl LaForge pointed out something to us in the early voting results. She said, you know, if you think Thomas Owens pulled votes from Lopeman and gave it to Snow, then that would mean that the similarities between who voted for mayor and who voted for at-large would be different by a couple hundred votes. And when you looked at the final results, that didn't look to be the same. It looked to be about the same number of people that voted for Jamie voted for the 3 at-large Republican candidates. So I don't know that Thomas Owens hurt either one of those guys enough to change the election.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that third-party candidates, by and large, are votes that they get, and again, for the most part, not everybody, but that's the result of I don't like either of the other two candidates.
Yeah. But I think he came around. I wasn't really thrilled with him early on, but I thought he did a good job. I thought the WCTV show last night was really good. Of course, I was on it. No, but we had some fun talking about that. So let me ask you, where do you go from here? You're kind of waiting till the change of guard and new council members comes in, but 2020, you start working on the bike path, right? Loop number 2. You start trying to finish up the facades projects and the stellar Richmond stuff. But in all honesty, isn't this the time that you start really pushing for the hospital and Earlham and other places to start coming in and start talking about payment in lieu of taxes? You've got to generate some revenue. The city is operating at a pretty significant deficit, and you've got to figure out how to get money into the coffers. Food and beverage tax, I think, is an issue that we should take up next year.
Yeah, I think all of those things will happen in the next 4 years. And what I think is obviously always beneficial when an incumbent wins is there's no learning curve now. I think that when you walk into an office as high as Richmond mayor, I think you've got a full year of a learning curve and to get kind of just in touch with everything. And now Dave obviously will not have to worry about that. So he can dive right into those issues, and hopefully he does. I want to talk real quick about I'm not going to run through the list of results. I'm trying to rotate regionally what we have, other counties and areas in our listening areas, but a couple of really interesting things that happened. One was in a race for Winchester Town Council or City Council. One of those races finished in a dead heat, 129 to 129 for District 4. I don't know how that's going to be decided. Do you know what happens?
No, I don't know. We've heard everything from flipping a coin to somebody drawing a name out of a hat to it going to a caucus of the other council members or whatever. I have no idea.
Yeah, but
what we'd like is mud wrestling.
Yeah. Naked.
Yes, naked mud wrestling in Winchester. Hey, people in Winchester, they get dressed all the time for calendars, to save courthouses. You know, Winchester, they'll show.
Flag
That's right. So I think if we had a say, we'd be having some fun with it.
I'm up there for that.
We'd raise some money.
Yep. And then in Darke County, almost the exact same thing happened. There was a race for Tri-Village School Board. 711 votes cast. The winner, Shane Kobe, won by just one vote, 356 to 355. So there's a couple examples that that at least locally your vote certainly does count.
Yeah, man, it's impressive. Okay. Any other news? Is it just more election stuff? Did all the criminals take the day off? Did they go vote?
Oh no, there's plenty of criminals.
Oh,
but,
okay.
they get a reprise. If you had meth or whatever yesterday, today's your lucky day.
That's
so
right.
Probably not
Okay.
gonna be talking about you.
No mugshot Wednesday? Okay, all right, very good. So here's our question today. Not that we don't like our jobs. I think we get a lot of cachet for being able to do the news the way that you want to do it. I get to put the show together the way that I do. Our bosses really give us a lot of freedom here. But if you wanted to make a job move, what are some of the must-haves in order for you to consider taking a different job?
I got two.
All right.
I've got two. One of them, it has to be local. I don't want to go anyplace far away.
Yeah.
And the other would be, I don't. This is not necessarily what it has to have, but what it doesn't have. I have 3 jobs, and in one of them, I have to take a 4-hour course that's essentially how to be politically correct.
Yeah, right. I have to do that at Ivy Tech.
And it's just awful.
Yeah. And there's little buttons, and you have to take a little quiz every now and then.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Don't want any of that.
Okay. I don't want to have to wear a tie Monday through Friday.
Right.
I think that would be a terrible thing. I like the idea of getting I'm at the age where I'm looking to try to put more money into the stock market, into retirement. I'm trying to figure out how to do that with having kids in college. So that would be another thing that would be a good benefit. And then this whole 4-day work week. Whew. I mean, they did a study in Japan for Microsoft Japan, a company there. They did it all summer. Productivity shot up 40%. People taking days off went down because they knew they were going to have Friday off. They worked harder and quicker in order to make sure they had the work done before the weekend. That makes a lot of sense unless you're in a business like this. I mean, we can't report the news, we can't do the weather, we can't do a show and just mail in a Friday. Can't do it.
No.
So
I'd like a 2-day weekend, let alone a 3-day weekend. That'd be awesome.
well, that's true. But that's you're
I know.
punishing yourself.
I know.
Okay, so here's the last question for you. Would you ever run for a citywide office? I know you're on Lockengren's town council, so you get a little bit of love of what it's like to be an elected official. But would you want to go through those election results like that last night, to wait around for an hour and just?
Man.
I mean,
You know what? I was thinking that. I was sitting there talking with Kappa last night, and I'm saying, in a half an hour, the next 4 years of these people's lives are going to be determined.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a full-time job like mayor.
yeah.
I would. Oh man.
Right. God bless you for putting your name on a ballot. And I think they ran a pretty healthy campaign, pretty clean, not a lot of mudslinging, so that's good. And so we move on. And thank God I'm not an elected member of council. Or mayor. Jeff, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Dream.
Okie dokie. All right, we got a Wet Nose Wednesday coming up straight up at 7 o'clock. And they're part of the Wayne County Challenge match. And then 7:45, we will have 3 different challenge match sponsors. We'll run through that break. Feel free to send me links to YouTube or whatever else for any of the nonprofits that you're supporting that are a part of this. It would be great. Hi to everybody out there. Thanks for those of you that voted. And if you didn't go and vote yesterday, just shut the hell up. I don't know. I don't have time for you today.